Okay, I'm just going to look at my little notes down here and jump in. First of all, it's great to be here. I'm excited to be here. I'm connected to the macro mind today, but I am every day. It's an unfair advantage, and I need it, actually. I'm connected to all these peripheral devices and people. I'm smart, but my network is brilliant. If I like you, I'll tell you what I think. If I love you, I'll tell you what they think. How can you compete with that? And my kids need that advantage, to be connected to an eduverse of people that they can learn from. So I think about social networking as a teacher, and I think, what can our kids do now that they couldn't do before? What were the disadvantages, and how are they gone? And if our kids are wasting time not using this, see, technology and social media sets up a buffet of learning choices for our kids, and they're eating the napkins. Do something amazing with the technology. Change the world. You can do that now. There's no excuse. So our upper Paleolithic hunter-gatherer forebears invented something really cool, the first peripheral device. It was called the Clovis tip. It was a spear tip. They put it on the end of a shaft, they threw it through the air, and they brought down game, and they fed their families. And some tribes didn't embrace that peripheral device. Their descendants are not in this room. So what are these things our kids are playing with? Playing with, we say playing with, right? Nothing less than the Clovis tip of now. And we see them sometimes as toys. We see social media as a waste of time, a kind of toy. Every civilization has turned their tools into toys so their kids could rehearse. Look back. The Plains Indians, little bows and arrows so they could practice. You, Fisher-Price ironing board sets and lawn mowers. We've all done it, but this is different. This is a convergence of two things at once, toys and tools. And if all we see it as is a toy, we are missing an opportunity. Now, this is not just any iPhone 4. This is one I got in Shanghai last week. I was in a shop, and I said, "Is that real?" He said, "China real." This is a knockoff, 20 bucks. A knockoff, and it's actually running an Android system looking like Apple. You've got to check this out. Our worlds can come together, can't they? If you just do this on the back, the whole back pops off. You can put 2 SIM cards in and toggle between 2 different accounts. $20. Now this made me go, this kind of rocked my world. See, China is playing a different game than we are, right? They don't get all caught up in whether I copied you or not. They just get busy copying. It's as if you have a cow on your side of the fence that's giving great milk. You raised that bucket calf, and now it's giving great milk. You fed it. You invested in it. And a neighbor moved in next door who didn't have a cow. They made a kind of cow out of cardboard, and late at night they milk your cow and put that milk in their cow and go, "China real cow." I'm not indicting China, I'm just telling you guys that's what's going on. So what do we tell our kids? To compete in that world, what do we tell our kids? Here's what I tell them. If you have a great idea, have another one. And another one. And another one. The world copies. Don't get caught up in that. Innovate, invent. Now, how do I do that? I leverage the power of my macro mind. I'm constantly asking other people what they think, and all together we have this unfair advantage, and I want my kids to have that advantage. I'm sitting in school when I was a kid, and I'm an at-risk kid, the son of an alcoholic outlaw, in the back row of the room where they say the bystanders sit, right? And one day I got up from there, and I walked to the front of the room, and I sat in one of these chairs, and my world changed because I had a front row seat. They asked those kids more questions. It's embarrassing not to know answers. And then I cracked the code of learning. That day I cracked the code of learning. Guess what? You're not going to believe how easy this is. The next right answer in the teacher's lecture is always the next dark black word in the book. Oh my God. It took a minute. There was a delay there, wasn't there? I tested my theory, and it actually worked. Sitting in the front row, I went from D's and F's to A's and B's. Front row seat. They call those kids policymakers. They call these kids bystanders. Is it possible that this is a front row seat? Is it possible? And I hear teachers get mad. The world changed. They get nervous. I hate those laptops. I don't know what those kids back there are doing. Get up. Walk around. Kids pass paper notes. We didn't ban paper. Get up, you know? But don't distrust me just because I'm online. Some of you are online right now. You're already Googling me to find out what else I'm weird about, okay? Good for you. I'm in the front row at a conference not too long ago, and I'm blogging, I'm live blogging the event, and I'm telling about, I don't know, 10,000 people all told that this man is brilliant. I'm bragging on him. He walks over and closes my lid. He touched my lid. Then he said, I'd prefer you weren't checking your emails. I worked hard on this presentation. I could have levitated and spilled soup like I don't know what that movie was. And, you know, I was really, really, really mad because why did you assume I'm up to no good? I learned by interacting with what you're saying. You might be full of crap for all I know. I'm going to Google you first and find out what you're about, and then I'm going to interact, because if I don't interact with the knowledge coming at me, I'm renting with an option to buy. It bounces off my brain. I learn by interacting, and our kids do too. You know, I heard this story about this toddler. Their family got a big screen TV, and they were getting ready to watch a Pixar movie, and this toddler gets up and walks around, and she's fishing around in the wires. And they say, sweetie, what are you doing? Where's the mouse? She expects to interact with her media. That's how the world changed, right? So I think of social media as a jar of lightning bugs. Think about this. This softens it for some people who get scared. I use soft language, okay? If you have one lightning bug in a jar and it's totally pitch black, when can you see enough to walk? Blink, blink, wait for it, blink. If I catch a second lightning bug, I can walk twice as often. A third, a fourth, a fifth, 100. Now I can see all the time because I have a network. All those lightning bugs, all lighting up at the same time, making it bright outside, right? So what's left for our kids to design if China's got the copying thing down? What we're about, what we've always been about in this country, experience. We create experiences, crazy experiences. You know why? We don't know we can't. We're crazy that way. We just do. We all often do. At least we used to. I worry about standardized testing. Who are we copying right now? I mean, remember when we built things? We did amazing things? Where are the creative classes going in school right now? Right now. 16-year-old closes Taco Bell, does the book, sets the alarm, and goes home, trusted by that man for his livelihood. The next day, raises her hand to ask for permission to pee. What a waste. Our kids should be doing things, starting companies on their own. And there's ways to do that. They could pan for information gold. What? Pan for information gold, using things like Twitter search widgets, using Google alerts, looking for key phrases like brand new invention, this will change the world, amazing new invention. Keyword searching those things. So I know within the hour every time something brand new happens in the world. See, you invented it, but you don't exactly see what it really could be. I do, I'm rich. I got a year to capitalize, then everyone copies. I can put your invention together with his invention because you don't know each other, but I do. I can connect the dots. That's panning for information gold. Our kids should be doing that right now. If you have a company, you're panning for the name of your company to see if anyone's talking. That's great. What's your next invention? What next service do you need to invent? Are you looking for people talking about that? The people who just invented it, who will be honored when you talk to them within the hour, 2 weeks from now. Get in line. That's an unfair advantage. So these sites out there, some of my favorites I'm going to share with you. Shapeways, a company in the Netherlands that will make your kid's product for free. He's got a factory back end now. He goes into Google SketchUp, free open source software, works on PCs and Macs, Google SketchUp. He makes a design, a piece of jewelry, or an add-on for the iPhone, a case for the brand new iPad 5, or the next iPad version, right, the third, right? So he designs that in AutoCAD or Google SketchUp, uploads it to his account on Shapeways, and now he has a factory printing that in 3D. Plastic, metal, sterling silver, all those choices. And that doesn't cost anything to do. And he's got worldwide now global distribution, B2B, right? That's just one, guys. Spoonflower lets your kids print their own fabric and sell it online. Their own fabric. Know any quilters? Spoonflower, that's the name of the site. I'll say more like that. Create space, your little artists can start their own industry online, their own store. Imagine if your schools were like a downtown business district, and the kids were business people. And when they graduated, they weren't starting business, they had a freaking successful business. And by the way, they got a good grade in business class for something other than Excel, spreadsheets, and widgets. They'd be on fire, right? That's their passionate product, and why shouldn't they? So I'm going to share this story with you. When I was in 8th grade, I got my first guitar. This is not that guitar. Sorry, if I talk like this, is it going to mess up the broadcast? I may need a volunteer just to hold it. Come up here and be my, give me a hand to my groupie up here. She's going to hold this thing for me. So I had an unfair disadvantage. In 8th grade, I'm poor. I get my first guitar. It doesn't have. My dad found it at a yard sale for $100 with no strings attached. It had no strings attached. So I go home and I'm playing air guitar, and that's all I can do. But I finally at Christmas get strings, and now I've got strings. And the old man next door tuned it. But here I am, a kid with no money for lessons. There's a barrier between me and knowing how to play this, and I want to play it so bad with my heart and soul. So I just start hitting it, and I found out that if I hit it here and slid from here to here, 2, 4, 2, 4. I felt good about that, so I entered a talent show. 1,200 people in junior high in the audience. And I'm feeling remarkably confident. I'm going to rock this room, right? So I get started. And everyone's nice at first. They're like, nice start. And then a minute and a half later, I was still doing that, and they were throwing things at the stage. And I left the stage and I cried and I went home and I said, it's over, man, that is it. I'm never playing guitar again. But I couldn't give it up. I couldn't give it up. So I went to the music store where they had sheet music, but I couldn't read it. I couldn't crack the code. I couldn't read that music, and I wanted to so bad. I was looking at a song by Garth Brooks, and I'm looking at the dance, right? The dance, it's in G, but I don't know what that means. What does G mean? But I look above the music, the scratch lines, and I see 1, 2, 3 frets, and I see circles, 1, 2, 3 fingers. I think I get it. So I look at the first chord. I can't afford the music, so my guitar's in the alley, and I'm running back and forth. First I look at the G, and I run to the alley. Now I go back in, look at the second chord. It's C, right? It's called C, and I see that. Then I run back in and see D. I go back in to see what's next, and the guy says, freeze! I said, what? He said, get out of my store! I said, why? He said, you're stealing our music. I said, no, I'm not. He said, yes, you're memorizing. I was kicked out for thought lifting. Now these days, I'm learning on YouTube. I'm learning on YouTube, anytime, anywhere, rewindable learning. The teacher doesn't judge me because they don't even know me, but they're giving away the learning for free. Man, our kids can be all over this. They don't have to have a barrier. And barriers are knocked down by lots of different things. I mean, a guitar has barriers. What? Blisters. Blisters are barriers. Some kids quit at blisters. How do you get rid of blisters? So I've been looking at this idea of apps as barrier busters, and so I'm going to open up my guitar here. This is, by the way, GarageBand for $4.99, right? Velcro, guys. That's my secret. Velcro, okay? Let me turn up just a little bit. Looking back on the memory of the dance we shared beneath the stars above. For a moment, all the world was right. How could I have known that you'd ever say goodbye? What do you think? That's kind of cool. For $4.99, this hand has nothing to do now. And there are people who get angry about this. That's not a real guitar. They said the same thing about the electric guitar. Chuck Berry grabbed it and got famous. Can our kids be early this time, please? Please? You're going to see this on Letterman. Why not? What if I was missing a hand? How much would I like this then? What if I play percussion with this hand while this hand does something different? Is that possible? What are we going to allow our kids to do. And we're going to challenge them to do. I make my kid pay rent on his technology. Rent. I call it the use lease agreement. Once a week, I have to see something amazing or I'm taking it back. There are more honor students in China than there are students in our country. That's the competition, whether you like it or not, an unfair advantage in a way. But if we're innovative, if we challenge our kids to do amazing things with their technology, might involve Velcro, kinky. What might they do? I want to show you one more thing, because in GarageBand, you've got 4 different guitars for $4.99. So I'm going to open up the hard rock guitar. Now, by the way, I get 2 effects pedals. These used to cost $125 to $175 each, built into the app. What if I want to play lead? Flip the switch. The nerds finally get to rock. I'll grab that up there. Thank you so much. Woohoo! I want to bring this bad boy in for a landing. I'm going to share this story with you. I got a minute 18. My son's a senior this year in Bueller. Then he just started KU, and he's going into education. He joined the family business. Poverty, yay. But for his senior project, every senior at his school has to do a legacy project, something that changes the world and makes it better. So he said, Dad, I want to do something that matters, not buy a bench. I said, cool. He said, do you know any schools that need things? I said, are you kidding? I said, I know a school in Bagshwari, Nepal, an hour from Kathmandu. They have 125 kids, open pit toilets, no electricity, and 20 books in the library. Want to help someone? So this teacher, the lead teacher at this school, he walks an hour after his second job to an internet cafe, gets online and tries to get people to help his school. But he sounds like a beggar. Everyone thinks he's that African prince that wants to put his money in your account. So my son starts talking to him on Skype and teaching him how to talk to people in the West, teaching him how to tell his story. My 18-year-old is teaching a middle-aged man how to tell his story. And he's using Twitter and Facebook and social media, leveraging those things to get people to know the story. By Christmas, they'd raised $2,000. So he sends that to the school, and they buy 2 laptops and an internet connection. And that school is on Skype. 125 kids in rural Nepal on Skype. And since then, they've connected to schools all around the world, but they weren't done yet. Once everyone saw them and knew the story, they started hitting the PayPal button more and more and more and more. The last milestone they reached 2 weeks ago, they raised $3,000 more to buy books and put a whole library plus furniture in this school halfway around the world. So that was my son and his friend Jake and his friend Connor. 3 18-year-olds decided to use social media to make the world a better place. This is amazingly powerful. Now, if we don't challenge them to do amazing things, they're going to do things. So did we, right? So why don't we challenge them to do amazing things that matter in the world? Because they can do anything, and nothing can stop them. Thanks. I appreciate the time, guys and girls.